just a higher one. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Okay. Let me just clear this up a little bit. This is better. And who do we have here? We have Aman, 21 male, India. Thank you for that. Aman, what are you doing up so late? This is Monday morning there. It must be about 2 o'clock a.m. Go to sleep. So I also feel like I'm not manly enough that I don't make necessary moves when I'm with a girl. You don't always have to make any moves. You can just be there and don't interpret if you're not making mood, if you're not up to it, or if you feel shy or you feel overwhelmed, that means you're not manly enough. Being manly doesn't mean being stupid or an asshole. If it's not appropriate, you will feel it and you won't act on it. And if it's appropriate, you will. Leave that to your emotions and to the moment and what you decide as you feel how the atmosphere is, ready or not. Stop constantly judging yourself that you're not man enough or you are or stuff, uh, depending on if you hit on a girl or not. And he says, necessary moves when I'm with a girl, which can lead me in relation with them. And other guys take those steps when they were close to any girl. No, they just because a guy makes a step and hits on a girl, it doesn't mean the girl is going to be responding positively. It depends if the girl likes the guy or not. So for that reason, you don't hit on the girl right away. You get to know them. You let them get to know you. Once you establish that framework, that base, that foundation of certain familiarity, certain topics of compatibility, having things in common. Then you move on to be a little bit more of a intending to date her or ask her out. But your interaction with a woman should not be based on, oh, what should I say so I can get between her legs? That's not the way to get to know someone. And that's not the way to express your respect and admiration for someone. Your respect and admiration to a woman should be based on being cordial, having a conversation, seeing how her life is all about, what your life is all about, what are the topics in the world that you can share and discuss, and create that trustable atmosphere by not having any particular intention, at least not showing it so visibly, even though if you're infatuated with her, at least respect her personality and being rather than a subject of the sexual interest that you might have, which we all do have to a certain level to any woman that we are encountering. But you need to be guarding that and protecting her from being approached with only that in mind. That's disrespectful to her. If you want to score with women, you got to learn to respect their personality, respect their engaging in you in conversation, and as a human being, try to figure out who they are, what they are. Let them figure out who you are, what you are, and then you will feel if it's appropriate to ask some other, questions appropriate to leading into spending more time with each other. Otherwise, constantly thinking that it's a technique to get a woman to date you or you let you to date her, that's not. There's no technique. It's all bullshit. All these things that you hear from different videos and whatnot from different channels or different, that you do this, you get into any woman's brain and they cannot resist you. All that fucking bullshit. Don't believe it. None of that is true. No woman is stupid. No woman is a dog or cat to be dominated or to be tricked. It's all in their intention, and they respect you if you respect them, and you go from there. Just don't buy into all these moves that you're supposed to make. What, they're not animals, and they're not stupid. They're highly intelligent and educated, and you got to approach them with kindness, respect, admiration, and then see where it goes. In most cases, you're not the one who make a decision to go with a girl. You may approach in a positive manner, showing your intention at the right moment, but they're the ones who make a decision if you're good enough to allow themselves to want to get to know you more. It's not a move, it's not a trick. Maybe there are some women who have some need of certain kind of attention or certain kind of, I don't know, provisions that they may, uh, you know, comply to that. They may go for that and respond to that kind of a fictitious moves and pretend that it is working, but in fact they decide they have a certain motivation to let it work. Otherwise, there's no such magical psychological way of approaching. Nobody's stupid. They either want to or don't want to, and the rest of it is just stories. And since she'll date someone or find someone on Valentine's and I'll be single like a piece of garbage, I feel so behind. Well, this is your interpretation of these events, that if you do get to have a date on Valentine's, then you're great. And if you don't, you're a piece of garbage. These are your problems in your head. There are many Valentine years that I haven't had a date because I don't care. A date can happen all throughout the year. And whether it's Valentine or not, who am I trying to prove anything? On Valentine's Day, I had a date. What does that mean? Why not any other day? it's not supposed to happen on a certain day, and if it didn't, then it's hell breaks. What the hell are you talking about? These are all commercialism, propaganda. That on Valentine's Day you should have a date, otherwise you're not good enough, man. That's all bullshit. Don't buy into that garbage. And many women who have bought into that, you give flower to any girl on Valentine's Day, they're already brainwashed with that. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. I should accept it. Oh, thank you. And they feel good because somebody on Valentine's Day gave them a flower. What does that mean? If they're still amazing person, they are. If they're still a piece of shit, they are. It doesn't matter if it's Valentine's, you have a date or not. If you're garbage, you're garbage all throughout the year. If you're a good person, you're a good person whether you have a date on Valentine's Day or not. Same thing for them. So stop this bullshit. Live your life. As long as you keep thinking that way, your life becomes that way. You say, I'm a garbage, and you feel you're garbage because you just said it. Nobody else said it. You're too negative for your own good. And depending on this bullshit date so much that it makes or breaks you if you have it or if you don't have it. Stop that. Lucasil, male 20, Serbia, say, I left her because of the guilt of cheating, texting other girls, and also wanted to live my years fully. She knew of the cheating and forgave me during the relationship. We were together for 2 years, and it's been 2 months since the breakup. She was okay with me until about a month ago when a mutual friend started spreading lies, which she believed. She hates me now and has moved on to another guy in less than 3 weeks after the breakup. That I would love her to be there so that we can share the moments. I'm sorry, I don't understand what this is here, this part. I don't know how to cope with this blunder in life, and I feel as if it's swallowing me from the inside. No, this is not a blunder. This is how you felt, how you acted, and how you were pretty much disrespectful to what you had, a relationship. So you cheated on, and that is your age. At age 20, you can't expect yourself to know the consequences and how you feel about things going this way unless you actually make that mistake. Now you know how you feel when you make these mistakes and not take care of the relationship that you're in and cheat and text and so on and so forth. So you will not do it again in the next relationship. But you would have never come to this understanding if you hadn't made this mistake. So this wasn't a blunder. This was part of the lessons you were supposed to go through in life to learn, because I assure you, this girl would not have been the girl that you would stay with for the next 5, 6 years or get married to. This is one of the first or beginning numbers of dates and relationships that you will have until you're ready to get married or to choose someone for a serious relationship for years to come. This would have broken up anyhow, so don't fret it so much. Now that it broke up for the certain reasons that you find yourself responsible for, that will teach you something, and that is part of your learning in life about how to treat women, how to treat a relationship. And this is part of your journey to learn. But so don't fret it too much that she's gone to someone else. That means blunder in life. And no, she would have eventually gone to somebody else, or you would have gone to somebody else after a year or so. So it would have been maybe a delayed fuse. It would have happened because no one, pretty much no one, with some exceptions, anyone would end up marrying their first or second or third real relationships. It will take a number of them. As they grow, they learn more and they become more aware of their own personality and expectations and standards before they're able to figure out what kind of woman they want and what standards they expect her to have. And so that would take time. And this is part of those learning process. So it's all right. Don't beat yourself on that too much. Just learn from it and go on. Treat the next relationship with the knowledge that you have now in a better and make a better quality. And even that eventually breaks down, and you'll go to the next one until you're about 28, 30 years old. And then you know enough about yourself to know what kind of woman you want. And then you'll become more of a wise and a thoughtful person in your relationships, and you will do whatever you can to compromise and to protect that relationship as best as you can. Simon Nielsen says, hi, 33 male Sweden. Ex broke up. WOT? What is WOT? Ex broke up and moved 4 house north to her parents. I feel as if I never find anyone that I will love and understand me as she did. Well, we always feel that when something breaks up because we've conditioned our brain to think this is the only one and we're only thinking about her. We've conditioned the brain to think that no one else is out there that we could understand or we would love because we're already in a relationship and we are paying full attention to this one. So nobody else is on peripherals. We cannot imagine ourselves with anybody else because we are imagining ourselves to be with this one full heartedly. And when it breaks up, you think, oh, well, there will be nobody else. Well, listen, before this relationship happened, you didn't know this is going to happen. You thought, how could I find anybody who would love me as much or as much the previous one? You didn't know, but this happened, right? Same thing now. You don't know, but something else will happen and it'll be bigger and better than this one. You just can't see it right now. For that reason, just relax. Don't judge it. Just let the nature take its course. And says, I realize that too late now. I have an opinion that I'm a hard person to live with. Weird. I called her 4 months later and asked if we should try again. She said yes. And I went up there to try it out. She acted a bit weird and became angry because I went to the bathroom twice when watching a movie. Uh huh. Does she count how many times you go to the bathroom? And Simon says, I went home feeling uneasy and not very welcome. We split up again. Then she senast, senast text or send me text saying I'm the one she wants, etc. Other than that, after that, she came to my hometown for a psychology, what? For psychology, what's the rest of it? For psychology meeting, all right? So what's the question? Is there any question? so, so why don't you just try again, the two of you, and just tell her like I have one condition. Don't count how many times I go to the bathroom. I don't see some big problem here. Obviously, you guys still want to work it out, so work it out. Carpe diem is here. Oh my goodness. Adam says, hi, Maran. Happy New Year. Just dropped in to say hello. Take good care. Thank you very much, Adam. Happy New Year to you as well. Hope your mom and dad are doing okay. And New Year has been good to you. And thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. We have Column. Column says 27-year-old from England So thanks so much for your videos. It's hard struggling with intrusive thoughts, but your videos and live chats are so helpful. Thank you. Delighted to hear that. And Simon Nelson says, oh, well, Simon Nelson, we already dealt with it. Luca Mahajlovic says, I feel as if I never find anyone that will love and oh, I see. Okay, I guess I messed up a couple of things together. Oh, we answered that one as well. Hmm. So I guess we are Princeton. Princeton says, hi, Mehran. Wonderful to see you here again. I have a question. Remember the breathing technique you demonstrated before? The one with two deep, yeah. Inhales and a long exhale. What's that called? Oh, you're talking about the breathing techniques that we use. Uh, two system, one pre-Butzinger complex, which is a normal breathing, and parafacial nuclei is the second one that helps you to manipulate breathing rhythm. So first you take a long break, long breath, then second one on top of it. So it'll look like then you breathe normally. So you take first one, then a second one, then wait a few seconds, then you exhale from your mouth, your nose, slowly, but with a little bit of a tension force, and you focus on that. And then when you finish exhaling, you breathe normally. So the pre-Butzinger complex is the name of the normal breathing system, and parafacial nuclei is the name of the other system that allows you to manipulate the normal rhythm of breathing, which is why you can breathe while you're laughing or crying, and the rhythm is not normal, it's different, but it allows you to do that. And Luca says, I want to thank you from with all my heart. I know I'm young and stupid. No, you're not stupid. Young maybe, but that's why you're stupid. Your lessons help me find the right space of mind. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate that. Nick Gliemann sounds German to me, is it? Says, good evening, Mehran. It's Nick, single and dating, male 24, personal trainer in Northeast Arkansas. Dating is currently causing me turmoil. Well, it's good. I mean, it's better to have a turmoil than monotonous life and no excitement in it. Because when you get my age, every one of these turmoils that you hate today, it would be an amazing event of life that you would welcome. Uh, Even today, I'm more interested to have a relationship that may not end up working than not having a relationship, because that would mean you're learning more and you are engaged in energy exchange in life, and you are using your life with another human being that you happen to be infatuated with or like to know her. So being something is better than nothing, of course, as long as it has its own um, limits of quality rather than being a very toxic ones. But at all time, young or old, you should try to use your wisdom and stay away from toxic women or toxic relationships, which they're out there. Just because they're beautiful and they're desirable and you want that intimacy and companionship with them, that doesn't mean that they're honest all the time. That doesn't mean that they mean well. That doesn't mean that they're not con girls. it happens in every human being, man or woman. They are good and they are bad. They are weirdos. They are normal. They are psychos. They are, you know, pleasant ones. And they're narcissists in both gender. So don't think just because they're beautiful, they're also innocent or well meaning. You always got to have to see the evidences and their behavior and analyze it, and don't be fooled by the fact that your desire doesn't let you see through them, because you're wise enough to see it and to know it, there's some wrong there. But your desire for pleasure, which you're programmed for procreation, you want to be intimate with them, and it's like a hungry animal that sees a prey, you just can't stop till you have it. Don't fall for that trap, thinking your desire for pleasure justifying that no matter what she is good. No, you have to be aware and wise to that. And when you see signals, use it and at least be cautious, instead of just giving your heart away or believing the lure that they're using to take your heart and then maybe harm you or take advantage somehow, and so on and so forth. So their beauty should not justify in your mind that they are wholesome and good all the time. Got to be aware of that and wise to that. Uh, and so Wiseman says, my question is, I feel sometimes I don't feel to be with a woman. I have HOCD and it feels real. It comes and goes, but lately I have been having groinal response and I can't even think about what I want. Well, that is HOCD when you have groin response. I have a, when you have many other of these symptoms that you're talking about, they all seem real. But the fact is, it comes and goes. Yeah. Your gender identity doesn't come and go. When it come and go, even if it doesn't come and go, it just stays, you gotta be wise enough to know what is it, and most often it's HOCD. But especially when it comes and goes, and sometimes you feel okay, sometimes you don't, that tells you that this is not your identity. This is HOCD, that your brain's activity, and it's got nothing to do with you, your awareness, and your true self. So you got to then learn what HOCD is, how it operates, and how to rewire your brain to get out of it, and then kind of dust off this stuff, the debris from the window, so you can see through clearly and you can see yourself as you've always been. Nothing has changed. You're not changing when you have HOCD. Nothing can change you because of HOCD. It's just that it covers over what is visible, what you are, and you cannot see through and feel through as you did, because there's statics there. Not that the scenery behind the window is gone and it's not there. It's just the window is not clean enough for you to continue seeing the beauty out there. So the same thing, this HOCD thought process and glitch in the brain and malfunction in the signal system of the brain, it acts as a debris that covers the clarity of what's out there, which is your identity. So what you need to do, don't doubt your identity, just focus on clearing up the window, clearing up the debris. So the statics would go away and you can see what you've always been there as you've always been. Nothing has changed. It was just confusing the hell out of you because it's a glitch in the movement of the brain's components and malfunction in the signaling system of the brain that creates all these confusions. And of course, there are techniques that you can help yourself to get rid of these debris and cloudy windows and statics, and then understand HOCD, and then no longer you're frightened by it and or affected by it. And whenever it hits you again, you know exactly what it is, so you won't freak out or you won't doubt yourself. Let me put this video that I have for you in regards to groinal response. So it'll help you to understand that and you won't freak out. All right. There is this one. Oops. This is about 20 some odd minutes in regards to groinal response. And there's a short version of it, but that short version is really short. So I suggest you watch this 23-minute one, and the other short version is 3 minutes and 34 seconds, but that is only to remind you after you watch the 23-minute one. Okay. And so when you go into my search engine and punch in groinal response, both will come up. But watch the 23-minute one that I just posted on for you. And then when you just want to remind yourself, you can watch a short one. And Wiseman says, yeah, okay, I said that. Now, Simon Nielsen says, now she doesn't want to work it out because I got enrolled in studies and took too long to contact her again. Well, she's got a big ego, doesn't she? I feel I behave weird and bland myself so much. I could have had something if I wasn't so svaret. I don't know what that is. Um, I need help coping with regret, please. Well, listen, Simon, I think it would be wise, it would be better if you go on my site, mind@seekstruth.com. www.mind@seekstruth.com. And you make an appointment for a Skype consultation. Make an appointment for 1 hour. I will throw in another 30 minutes or an hour, depending on what we need. So we'll have plenty of time to relax and get to know the details. And then we'll discuss what's concerning you one on Skype. And Nick says, ran into my ex the other day, still feeling there. What measures do I use to choose one woman over another? Or should I just stay focused on my path? I don't understand your question completely. Could you rephrase it? You're shortening it to meet the limited lines here, I guess. Make it a couple of them. So Nick says, yes, Kleeman is German. My dad was born there and moved here. Ah, I see. And Nick says again, says, ran into my ex the other day. Okay, this I understand. Still feelings there. Okay, you still have feelings for her, naturally. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Whenever you see an ex, you will be triggered with the memory file, which is recorded in your memory, and it's there. And those memory files trigger the prerequisite file for desire to be born. There are a number of things that has to happen before desire is born. And when your desire for her was born, those prerequisites were met. And they were also recorded in the memory. So years after, when you actually see that person again, it is very possible, if you're not involved with somebody else and it's not enough time has passed and you have not resolved things 100% in your brain, you may actually have a trigger which results in the prerequisites for desire file to be triggered open. And the brain cannot tell the difference between virtuality and actuality. So when that file opens up, the brain feels that all that needed for desire to be born, all the prerequisites, have just now been completed again, because it doesn't understand it's the memory. It just feels that it just been replenished, it just been completed. And then again, desire is born for that moment until you get your act together, and an hour or two later you come to your senses and come to the actuality of your life, and you realize you're in a relationship with somebody else, or you've already dealt with that past relationship and you're okay. But at that moment you will be overwhelmed, and you feel all those feelings again, and you desire her, at least for that short period of time. And so, what measures do I use to choose, well, okay, one over the other, or should I stay focused on my path? I don't really know what this part of your question is all about, because it doesn't tell me what you're really asking. Are you asking for a different way of to handling that? What I can tell you, that whether you just broke up or you see an ex and reminisce, and things are newly refreshed in your mind about how things were, and you desire her again, or you feel overwhelmed or jittery, or somehow you feel depressed as if you've lost something important, or you're angry and stay angry because of the recent breakup, or because you remember a, a breakup that happened a while ago but you're still hurt by it. All of that has many reasons why you're angry. So let's go over this. There are a number of things that happens after a breakup that makes you feel angry, resentful, and possibly still feeling in love or lust or infatuated with her, even though you know she actually caused the harm, she actually was not positive in the relationship, she had ulterior motives, and perhaps she was a con girl to a certain level for certain benefit or psychotic pleasure maybe she was seeking, or some kind of a plan she had, maybe to make you fall in love, to, I don't know, get some money from you, or get some favors, or play a game. Whatever the reason was, she wasn't truthful to the relationship, and for one reason or another she broke it off. Now, however it broke off, there are feelings that stirred up in you after that breakup, however it developed, that makes you angry with her. So the reason for all these feelings and ill feelings, or anger or resentment that we talked about, is as follows. Number one reason is that you had created a perfect image of a girlfriend for yourself, using the information that this woman had given you, which most women at the outset, when they give you information to describe themselves, those informations are never true. They are quasi true, mostly exaggerated, and they have left out all their shortcomings, and they have created and presented themselves to you as a perfect woman, at least to what the image they have of themselves in their mind, or they would like others to see them as that image in their mind. So they put that out. And based on that information that you receive from them, you create a more perfect image of her in your brain about them in your mind. Why? Because we're all selfish and we think we're the top dog, we're the best of the best, and we all are in our own mind. So if I am the best, the girl that I've fallen for whatever reason, convince myself that she is worthy enough for me to fall for her. So therefore, I create her to be the best of the best because I feel I am the top dog. I am the best of the best. So if I'm falling for this girl for whatever reason, she must be the best. And if she's not, I create her to be the best in my brain. So I create an image of her in my mind about her that she's perfect woman. That's out of selfishness because I feel I deserve a perfect woman. And whether this one is or not, mostly are not, but I create her, elevate her as an image in my brain about her that she's perfect. And then I fall in love with that perfect image. Now that she's broken up, I cannot continue to have that perfect woman image in my brain to love. I cannot continue sustaining that perfect image of the woman that I felt in love, I love in my brain. Why? Because the actuality of this woman no longer exists in my life. So I cannot continue the perfect version of the image I have made out of this imperfect actuality and ended up with a perfect girlfriend in my mind. I can't have that anymore because she's no longer the structure, the model that I made this image based on that model no longer exists. So she took away something that I had created that was perfect, and I cannot legitimately continue having that perfect girlfriend. She's no longer there, even though she wasn't perfect, but I had the perfect version of her in my brain. That was my girlfriend. I had a relationship with the image I had made out of her in my mind. That was my relationship with her. That's what I was in love with. So when she leaves, I think the one that I love that I had created in my brain, the perfect one, that has left me. Why? Because I cannot continue having that because this one, which was the basis for that, is no longer in my life. That pisses you off. That's one thing. Second thing that pisses you off and keeps you angry is that she took away something that belonged to you. Hmm? One was the image, but the second thing is that she took away something that belongs to you. Remember when you guys were together intimate and she must have said that her body belongs to you, she belongs to you, you're her everything and all that, so forth. Many say that legitimately or as a plan or as a trick to play with your mind or dominate you or control you or convince you that they really love you so they can take advantage from you one way or another, or they really meant it. Either way, they said that their body belongs to you, you can do whatever you want with them. And at the moment of heat of the moment, they might have said that. Mostly do. It's passionate talk. And you believed it because we all do, because that's the ultimate thing we want from a one to love her, to want her, and to know that she's all for us and her body is ours. So when she says that, declares that to you, and you believe it, and then she goes with somebody else, you're now pissed because she gave something that she gave it to you that belongs to you to somebody else. And that pisses you off because she gave it to you and you believed her. Her body is yours, she said. And now she's with somebody else. That tears you apart because she took away something that belonged to you. She gave it to you herself. So you believed it because it came from herself. She gave it to you, now she gives it to somebody else. That pisses you off. That's two reasons why you're angry. And the other reason that you are struggling after this breakup is because there's a battle between desire and ego. Your desire wants the pleasure of her companionship, her intimacy, and to be with her. And you're willing to sacrifice, do anything just to have that feeling, have her body, have her companionship, have that relationship that it was once going so well. But your ego says, listen, she has not lived up to your values. She has disrespected your trust. She has taken away the faithfulness that was the cornerstone and the foundation of this relationship. Your ego tells you you cannot accept a woman who has broken the oath that was between you guys to be loyal and to be together. But your desire says, but I want her. I love her. I want that intimacy. And the ego says, if you do, then you are diminished in your character and who you are, and your identity is compromised. This is the fight you have in there. If you listen to your desire, you will get pleasure, but you will lose your gusto, your roots. If you listen to your ego, you will not have the pleasure that's painful, because we know we are just driven by all that sexuality and sensuality and intimacy that we love to have with women. But yet you will regain your identity, you will regain your power, you will regain your alpha male, you will regain your character, and you will be proud of yourself. That's the battle you should win. Fourth is that she took away something that was part of your identity. You had an image of being a man in a relationship. Now that she's gone, that image of you that is made out of so many characteristics and so many things that are happening in your life is no longer benefiting from the part that also showed you as a man in a relationship. And that pisses you off because it took away something from your identity. It agitated what you would have seen yourself as a complete picture of a person you are. Your job, your education, your philosophy, your way of life, your lifestyle, and a man who has a girlfriend. That was part of your identity. That has been taken away, and that bothers you because she changed the image you had of yourself in your mind in its entirety is not the same. Another reason for your anger. Her action agitated the image you have of yourself in your mind, which that image had given you a certain quasi psychological security. Now that she's gone, you're not finding contentment, and therefore it takes away that elusive, unattainable psychological security that one level you had some of it because of that image that was created in your mind about yourself. The image you had of yourself in your mind about this relationship had created a certain emotion which was bringing about that certain level of psychological security, as we just talked about. Now that she's gone, that certain level of psychological security that came from that contentment in that relationship, settling you down because you're in a relationship, you're happy, you're content with that, you're committed to that. That emotional stage of stability is now been shattered in a way or been affected by her leaving. So that has taken away that certain level of psychological security that again emotionally disturbs you and pisses you off, because that certain kind of a stability in the emotional state has been taken away, and you find her responsible for that. So you're angry about that. And you accepted her as an intelligent woman. Why? Selfish reasons. Because you consider yourself a catch. You consider yourself very important. Now, everybody in the world consider themselves the most important person in their lives. And you consider yourself the most important person in your life, and you consider yourself in a high echelon. You held yourself high. And the fact that she chose you, that made her in your mind to be a very intelligent, intellectual, and smart woman, because she chose you and you know that you're the best. You feel you're the best. You consider yourself the best. So she has chosen the best. That makes her very intelligent in your mind. And now that she has broken up with you, you having already made her to be considered as a very intelligent woman, you now continue thinking her breakup reasons comes from intelligence. Therefore, that changes your identity, that diminishes you, because that decision to break up with you has been made via an intelligence. That decision has been made based on an intelligent thinking, because you had already expanded her level to an intelligent woman when she chose you. You think of her as intelligent because of that. Now, what she has done, you also think of it, it comes from intelligence. And that makes you feel terrible about yourself, because you feel your identity is now not the same. It's not affirmed as it always was, because an intelligent woman has refused to continue a relationship with you. But you were the one who considered her intelligent, and you're falling for the hole that you created. You took her up on pedestal because she chose you. You made her feel intelligent. You made yourself believe that she's so intelligent because she chose you. Now that she broke up with you, you also feel you've been broken up by someone who's intelligent. So how can you contest the fact that you're not good enough, because it was done, the decision was done by an intelligent woman, by your own uh, admittance that she was intelligent, your own judgment. So these are the things that you're dealing with after a breakup and why you're so angry. If you understand all these things and dissect them, then your anger will go away, because all these points are just simply thoughts and judgments, and they haven't really been able to change you in any shape or form. You're still the same amazing person as you were before you met her, and you will continue to be better because now you have more experience by having been able to analyze this, having gone through this relationship, and having been able to see and learn how things can unfold, whether you expected it or not. But now you know how it feels, why they feel this way, and that wisdom and that knowledge gives you more of a understanding and more of a confidence because of this knowledge for your next endeavors and next experiences in relationships. All right. I think that would be something that would make a separate video out of it, and maybe put it on a standalone for you all to understand why you're angry and upset after a breakup. Wiseman says, I'm currently better. I don't feel anxious about HOCD anymore, thanks to you, but the thoughts comes and I can't even decide what I want. I like woman, but the thoughts just come up and I just feel blank. Well, that's because you don't understand HOCD thoroughly. The components of the brain that are involved in creating HOCD, the malfunction of the signaling system, this all needs to be understood. The role of midbrain, amygdala, the role of the fact the amygdala wants to protect you from all these things that you fear or you want to protect, the role of basal ganglia, striatum, role of neuroscience of habit that comes to the picture, and understanding the caudate nucleus, which is a, a automatic system to shut down intrusive thoughts, and when it malfunctions, it doesn't do its job, so the intrusive thoughts hovers, and you may think, oh, because it's hovering, it's true. No, it's a malfunction in the system. It's not because it's true that it's hovering. No, it's just doesn't have the capability to dissipate as it's designed to dissipate automatically, because caudate nucleus is not functioning well. So you got to help the brain with the techniques, such as techniques that Dr. Schwartz came up, the 4 steps, which I have a video on it. Just put in 4 steps and tell you how to deal with these OCD or repetitive thoughts and intrusive thoughts and so on, how to understand them, how to reframe them, how to refocus, and how to get on with the rest of your day and reprogram your brain from falling into the trap of the continuous intrusive thoughts, to be able to train the brain through the 4 steps in order to teach it to focus on positive things in your life and not allow this sort of thinking continuously condition you to stick with this sort of thinking on and on and on, break off the habit, and move on to where you should be focusing, which is your actual life. And then little by little, brain will give up and learns how to behave rather than misbehave according to what OCD and HOCD makes them to do. All right. Cash says, I'm ruminating about whether I got an arousal to a person I thought was a girl, but it was a trans. Yeah, but the brain doesn't try to find logics. The brain, if it believes it's a girl, it's a woman, it reacts to it. Now, if it was a trans or was a man from behind, looked like a woman, it's not your fault. The brain doesn't wait for facts to come in with paper sign that this is a woman. If it thinks it's a woman, it gets aroused because you're a man. Anything feminine looking or feminine behaving, even though if it looks like a man, you can see it's a man, but behaves femininely, you may get arousal. It's not that you're interested in the man and you're getting arousal to a man, you're getting arousal to the femininity behavior, feminine behavior, even though it's being done by a man. You may get arousal, but that arousal, once you come to once you focus the fact that it's coming from a man, you will not continue any interest to turn it into action. But the arousal can still take place because the arousal takes place not based on what the person or the thing looks like. It's based on the emotion that is being extended, feminine emotion, feminine energy. It can come from a man, it could still create an arousal, but you having the control over your actions, you will not act on it because that's not in line with your values. Therefore, you will not act on it. If it was in line with your values, like you were homosexual, then you would have acted on it. But once you realize that this is not coming from the right kind of a gender that you're interested and you're inclined to, and your genetics codes are focused on and geared and programmed with, then you will not act on it. But otherwise, getting aroused, it's just you can get aroused with, I don't know, with anything, with a soft flower, with a soft color, with the an animal looks so sweet or whatnot. Whatever femininity energy is extended, you may get aroused. Even a scenario of romanticism without any human being in it, such as if you pass by and see from the window of a restaurant a table set for two, candle lights on it. Nobody's sitting on the table, on the chairs on the table, around the table, but the candle lights and settings and very romantic, a little flower. So that could even give you an arousal because it represent a certain romantic scenario, and you could have arousal. What are you going to call yourself then? Tablosexual? No, it's just. Or if you see a nice muscle of a horse and you get arousal because of the tone of the muscles, and muscle represents used for sexuality, so muscle sex, and the brain associates what you're seeing to sex, and then the sex, the concept of sex makes you get arousal. What are you going to say? You're homosexual? No, none of these interpretations are correct. You just see or feel a feminine energy, you may get arousal. You don't have to interpret anything about it or come to any conclusion. You get up in the morning and there's nobody around in the room. You're alone, but you get a hard on. What do you call it? Self-sexual? You don't interpret it. Well, you can get arousal for no reason at all. And it just so happened to be some guy around. That doesn't mean you had arousal for the guy. It means you had an arousal for whatever reason. Who cares? You had an arousal. No conclusion necessary. You don't interpret it. You go about it. But when the brain comes up with suggestions, oh, you had arousal because that guy was there, or that muscle you saw, or these then play with your head and you pay attention to them and you start to data hunt it. You try to come to a conclusion, and that all goes to rabbit holes, which waste the time. You just simply got to say, okay, I got a hard on. Okay, fine. But I live by my vetoes and choices. And my values is not to have sex with another guy. So you won't, even if you had a hard on and your brain attributes it or suggests that, oh, because you're interested in the homosexuality. That's not true. Don't interpret anything, because you are your actions, not the feelings or not the arousal or not this and that. You choose not to have acted on that arousal with a same sex individual, then that means that's in the story. So you don't have to just simply interpret things. Your actions interpret who you are, your identity, not thoughts or suggestions or the arousal or whatever else. And anyhow, if your brain thinks something is feminine, you may get arousal, but that doesn't mean you're homosexual or you have any inclination toward the same gender. The fact that you're aware of these and you question them, that clearly tells you that you're not homosexual. If a person is homosexual, these thoughts will not even register, just like the thoughts of being a heterosexual inside your brain doesn't register as something that you would question or you wonder or you would become aware of it. It would be just seamless and you have no question about it. The fact that you have question about these, that means these ideas of the brain secretions and thoughts are not in line with your values, which means you're not what HOCD is accusing you of to be. So relax and enjoy your life. Nick says, wow, you described my ex perfectly. You have a lot of clarity. Oh, delighted that you think that way. Says, you put into words what I feel and know to be true. All right. Jack04 says, 18 male USA. Is the theory that OCD is a coping mechanism correct? Best books on stopping OCD. Look, I don't know really what this means. The theory of OCD is a coping mechanism. Maybe. I know I had OCD all my childhood, all the way to recent, even now sometimes come and goes. But mostly I've been able to understand it and not comply with it. I used to touch the light switch 10 times, turn it on and off. Because if I don't, maybe something bad happens to my parents or my loved ones. Or if I do this, then things are okay. If I go over the four corners of a tile, I used to do that a lot. I used to do weird things when I was younger because it all comes from interest to psychological security and lack of psychological security, because in life, since millions years ago, human being was interested in security. At that time, we were only interested in physical security because we had no such brain as we have today to be able to speak or think. So there was nothing else that we needed security for. It was only physical. so nobody would attack our little home, take our woman, or take our chicken, or whatever it was, little dinosaur, whatever we had, as a as a poultry or or animal farms. So we were interested in physical security, which the mere reason for physical security turned out to be disastrous for the world, and it became brought about less security. But that's another story for another time. But human beings has always been interested in physical security. And then 40,000 years ago, when we were given this kind of a brain that we have now, which enabled us to think and speak, and that's when the whole problem of psychological issues and mental issues, OCD and so on, started. Because until then, until 40,000 years ago, we couldn't think and we couldn't speak. So everything was instinctive, like animals. We would run, we would hunt, we would sleep, we had sex. We had no questions whatsoever, no intrusive thoughts, no confusion about our inclinations, sexuality. Everything was instinctive. So there was no thoughts, there was no intrusive thoughts, there was no confusions, there was no OCD, HOC, there was no problem. Thoughts are the roots of problems. But 40,000 years ago, when we were given this brain, sophisticated brain, developed to the point that we were able to use it for sophisticated things to accomplish things in life, but it also had drawbacks which created lots of intrusive thoughts and lots of malfunctions like any other electrical system. It could break down a system malfunctioning, glitches, and so on, and that would bring about all kinds of mental issues that we all deal with it. Today, there are more mental issues than there are other issues in our health, and so on and so forth. So, about 40,000 years ago, when we were given this brain that we could think and we could speak, then we also were seeking psychological security in addition to physical security. Now, where was I going with this? Coping mechanism. So, because we are looking for psychological security, and psychological security was not really offered, we would be inclined to accept many other powers that could, in our mind, convince us that we would be safe. Religion is one, God is another, and many other reasons that we accepted certain kind of rituals in order to deal with certain insecurities which were psychological, and we had no remedy for it but to create a belief that if I touch this light switch, the angels or whatever it is, the powers will be aligned to protect my father or my mother or my loved ones. Because there was a need for psychological security, and there was no certain way to assuring myself of sustaining the lifestyle and the comfort that I had at that age or any age. So I would resort to certain kind of created beliefs that if I do this, things will go my way. Like when you say something, I don't know how many times before your exam that you really want it to happen. So you think, oh, if I do this, or if I do that 2 times, or you come up with all kind of crazy things. And some of them are very popular, such as religions and gods and so on and so forth. Some of them are actually more dissected and try to figure out why am I doing this and try to stop doing it. So I try to learn, why am I doing these things? All because I wanted security, psychological security for my loved ones. And I had no power to create that. So I would rely on certain kind of unknown powers. And I created that in my brain to create a belief that if I do this, things will be okay. So I could settle down. So I would cope with that fear that has been created in my brain about the well-being of my loved ones and the fruition and the fruitfulness of my plans in life and all the other rest of the good things that we're hoping for. So in that sense, maybe. Wise man, sir, thank you so much, sir. Have a wonderful day. Lord bless. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Cash says, thank you very much, sir. You're quite welcome. And says, where are you from, sir? Well, I am here in Canada. Originally, I was born and raised in Iran till I was almost 18 years old, and my dad sent me to university in the States. And then I went back to Iran, went to military. Then in 1979, I left Iran to Canada, and I have not gone back yet. I think that answers your question. Cash Money says, if you don't mind asking what the religion you are, I don't have a religion. I was born and raised in a Muslim country, and it was very good for any child to have a religion of some kind, to be able to have that psychological security that we just talked about, to believe in certain powers, to keep him in the right track, to keep him away from the wrong crowds and wrong things to do, because at that time, the child doesn't have enough sense and understanding or experience to tell what is what and bad from good and good from bad and all that. So a certain role model or certain um, guidelines would be necessary for children to have. So I'm all for religion for that purpose. And even for the future, when you grow up, you still can have your religion, as it gives you hope and keeps you straight, keeps you in the right track in life, and keeps you away from troubles. But then religion itself should not be an instrument to abuse you and to turn you into a slave just because some of these religious leaders turn you into. In my case, I was interested in Eastern philosophies, and I focused on meditation and universal powers and energy of the universe and the energy in general. So I don't run my life with uh, I don't govern my life with religion, but I do believe in certain mechanisms, certain intelligence, energy, and flow of energy in universe that has created and gives power and life to everything and helps things to grow and develop. However, I'm not um, a Muslim as a Muslim should be. I'm as much a Muslim as I am Christian or I'm a Jew or whatever. All these are good. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, regardless of what religion it comes from. So you always use your own mind and reasonability and able to judge things deep and understand things, what is right, what is wrong, rather than dogmatically following certain rules, whatever religion it may be. But religion in general is good, so there's nothing wrong with it. And I still identify with that religion, but to the level that I find it helpful, as I identify with Christianity, to the level that I find it helpful, as I identify with Judaism, to the level that is helpful, to the level to love everyone and to be able to appreciate everyone's values and just regulate it for you, whatever is good for you to that limit. All right. Now, where are we? And Cash says, what are your thoughts on meditation and healing the mind? Very good. Meditation is very good. As you can see, we have many meditation videos on this channel that we have shared meditation on live streams together in different kinds of meditation, breathing meditation, concentration, expansion meditation, short meditations, and just very simple meditation, focusing on the breathing in, breathing out, a normal breathing sequence and rhythm. These are all good stuff that's very, very important for the brain to take the load off of it. You know, when we go out during the day and we do all kinds of things, all kind of work, and we spend our energy to be productive, and we come home, and the first thing we do, we sit on the couch, put our feet up, and say, "Let me take the load off of my feet." Well, you should also be able to take the load off of your mind, your brain, and that's through meditation. But we never do that, do we? We just take physical load off of ourselves by, I don't know, sitting, having tea or wine or whatever it is that you guys do after work. And you think you're relaxing, but you're relaxing physically. But you also got to be able to relax mentally and take the load off your mind. That is where meditation comes to the picture. So meditation is very important. We have many videos on this channel in regards to guided meditation, how to meditate, and so on and so forth. The powers that you get from training your mind and align it with the power of universe, universal nature's power, it's tremendous. And we have many different examples how the power of mind can affect you. Here, I'm going to take a very short break and show you what I mean in regards to that. It's only 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Take a look at this. That shows you the power of mind when it actually affects us in the real life and affects the ability or changes the dynamics of the physics on this earth. And here is a simple example of it. There you go. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. Well, we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing. Again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you.
Yeah, no
Thank you very much. So I hope you guys were able to see it, and you can see how powerful the brain can be, and it's all coming from understanding the how you can be compatible, how you can be one with the nature's power, and how you train your mind to be able to do that. Everybody can do that. It's not a big deal. But it shows that there are powers involved that we can use in our daily life to accomplish the task that we set out to accomplish more than our physical being. And so Nick says that was cool. Yeah, it is cool, isn't it? And Nick says, is it weird to date a woman with the same name as your sister or a family member? Yeah, I know it's kind of a bummer. I mean, you're trying to tell her that you love her. You say, "Oh, I love you," then your sister's name comes out, or your mother's. That's going to be quite mood damper. But you know what? You just, if you love her enough, you just say, "Darling, can I call you a nickname?" like, like sweetheart or something. Well, that reminds me of a joke, and I'm going to tell you guys a joke about this nickname. This guy, an older guy, about 85, close to 9 years old, walking in the street to do something, some errands, and he sees an old friend, high school friend, and he also is an old man. And he says, "Hey, wow, it's been so many, many years, maybe 40 years, 30 years, I've seen you." He says, "Look, come to my place. Let's go to my place. My wife will make us something to eat, some tea, coffee, and we'll just chit chat about the old times. The old guy says, sure, why not? Let's reminisce. So we go to their home, and they all sit outside, and the wife comes in and introduces the guy to the wife. So this is my old friend from high school, so on and so forth. So the wife brings some tea and coffee and pastry and so on, and sit down, and the guy, the host, the old man who found his friend, says, honey, could I please have that sugar? So the wife hands the sugar, and then a few minutes later, the same guy says, Muffin, could you kindly give me that piece of little bread there on that corner of the table? So the wife hands him a piece of that cake, and then a few minutes later, he said, sweetheart, will you please give me that, I don't know, a sugar cube over there? And she gives him that. And then she gets up to go to the kitchen to do something. And the guest guy, the old friend from the high school, turns around to the host and says, wow, this is so nice and refreshing to see that after so many years, you guys still call each other with nicknames. You call her Muffin, honey, sweetheart, and so on. He says, yeah, but that's not it. I forgot her name 10 years ago. So hence the reason for the nicknames. So you may choose a nickname for her and ask her to accept it. Anyhow, the nickname brought that joke for me. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. So all right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 26 minutes, and we've answered all the questions, I believe. So it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself, and to the others, I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind.seekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.